Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back. It is good to see you. We are in the throes of holiday season here. It seems like whatever holiday you celebrate, you're probably preparing for it at this point. Thank you for taking some time out of your Monday to join us. I mentioned it the other week, but this is the first official episode where Ashley is joining as co-host of Maximize Monday. So very excited. Had her on as a guest the other week. You and I have been talking for a lot before that too, and just kind of the conversations we were having, just kind of our general rapport felt like a natural fit. I've been wanting to have a co-host on Maximize Monday for quite some time, and so Ashley was gracious enough to accept the offer to fill that spot for me. So Ashley, welcome. First official episode. Go ahead and take some time to introduce or reintroduce yourself to the Maximize Monday audience here.
All right. Well, my name is Ashley Smith. I left the classroom. I guess a transitioning teacher, you will probably call myself. I'm still looking for that perfect role. Just recently I took a break because I was applying like crazy, would have like 2 to 4 interviews a week, and it just at a point came a little bit overwhelming. So I wanted to take a break prior to the Thanksgiving so that I can be my best self for my family on for that time. But that's just a little bit about me. I'm excited about today and the future episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's most exciting for me is, you're in your search right now. So, you've got some time to jump on here with me. And, as it progresses, you're going to land that full-time role soon. So I'm really excited to see like how you're able to give that insight along the way, like how you've prepared for interviews, what helped you. A lot of people go into these things blind. And I think, getting the insight from you, when you have that success story to share here in a few weeks. I think that'll be the best to kind of give that insight along the way. But you and I chatted. One of the main things because we brainstorm now on Maximize Monday. We talk about future episodes now that there is a co-host in play. And the first topic you and I kind of kicked around was preparing for like the career fair, the job fair, the networking events. Because you and I talked about this when you were on as a guest before. I've talked about this with a few people. It's just kind of networking is one, the most important part of job searching, I would say, just because unfortunately or fortunately, at this point, it's kind of more of knowing the right people and getting that opportunity presented to you because of that. And there's a lot of different ways that you can build a network. Obviously, you can send messages on LinkedIn. That's probably how you and I got connected. I don't even remember at that point, but probably how it happened. But you can comment on people's posts. But then they do offer and host events that job seekers, hiring managers, recruiters, just people who want to network in general can attend. And it's kind of one of those things, and this is why and this is our first topic because you just recently went to one of these networking events, and so we're going to dig into how you prepare best for this because a lot of people they show up, they stand there, and they hope for the best, and then you can't really do that. People aren't necessarily going to come up and talk to you like, hey, there's that person just standing in the corner, let me see what they're all about. That's not going to be the best way to build your network and find opportunities. So that's my first question for you, Ashley, since you just were an attendee at one of these events. How did you prepare going into that, especially in instances where you might have to pay for a ticket to get in? You don't want to make an investment and then just go in unprepared. So what were some of the things that you did to get ready to be an attendee at a career fair and networking event?
So what I did to get ready, so to be honest, I didn't go in with the hopes of finding a job, getting an interview on the spot. I just really wanted to go to network. That was my thing. I wanted to meet some of the recruiters that I've seen on LinkedIn that I knew was attending. And I just wanted to, I guess, feel the people that's representing the companies out, just
Mhm.
conversation.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did, I'm going to be honest, is I went out and I found an outfit that will make me feel great that day because I feel if you look good, you'll feel good and you'll do good.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing I did, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I went out and found an outfit that I loved. And then after that, of course, I've been networking the past couple months. So I actually didn't put myself in the position just to walk up to those recruiters like I was talking to them. And
Yeah.
even the morning of, we were messaging and she was like, I'm at Starbucks if you want it. So it was like I created or we created a space of genuinity.
Hmm.
So it wouldn't be weird or awkward because we had been I guess engaging on LinkedIn with each other.
Hmm.
I didn't want to come off as like this awkward, crazy person.
Right.
Um, I also went and I looked at so for that I want to say for that specific conference they have a app. So they had the floor where you can walk around and see the different companies and if you wanted to stand in line and talk about a role. And they also had like people there to speak, so speakers.
Okay.
So I planned my day.
Hmm.
There were a few speakers I was very interested in, and then I made sure that I hit the floor and walked around. And in that moment, believe it or not, the recruiters that I wanted to meet introduced me to other people. I met, I want to say, two or three other ladies.
Okay.
One of them actually was, is a teacher that transitioned out of the classroom into corporate. So it was just an amazing moment. I went and bought little cute tablets. So I did things to make me feel like going in, you can do it.
Yeah.
So I want to say that's probably the most I did was make sure I was familiar with the app. Since I'm from Houston, it was in Houston. I was familiar with the area,
Okay.
and then I just went there prepared with all the tools I needed. I had my mini MacBook, some different I guess journals or tablets for different things. Because I didn't I try to organize different things like if for different reasons. And so I would say that's probably the how I prepared for that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, you've raised a lot of good points, and for myself, a lot of the times when I'm attending these events, it's more at colleges and universities, and so, you talked about the outfit, always important. I try to be a little bit more lenient with it, just because I know myself in college, I did not have a suit. I probably was very bad at tying ties at that point as well.
Mhm.
So, I mean, when people show up, as students show up with suits or dressed up very well, it certainly is something that speaks well for them. But at the same time, if they have 10 minutes in between classes, then I don't expect them to dress nice walking through campus just for that too. But definitely, if you are going to a network event specifically and it's in the evening or you don't have to go in between things, absolutely dress for that. Just to exude confidence yourself, like you said, if you feel like you look good, you're going to walk in there and have that confidence right off the bat already. So that is certainly key, as well as just familiarizing yourself with the venue, the area itself too. A lot of times when these things are just like in Philadelphia, like that's where I'm close to. It's pretty vague when they say, "Oh, it's at the convention center," which is a span of like 6 city blocks. So that doesn't really help when you're trying to find. So if you can do that research beforehand and know where you need to go, so you're not running, the 6 city blocks to get to a conference or things that you want to be to on time is key. But you mentioned that they had speakers there, and obviously that's usually the case at these types of networking events, right? Is they bring in some people that are going to speak to topics that are interesting to you, or bring in people that can share success stories that would be valuable. So, how did you go about planning that? What were some of the things that you knew going in? I want to listen to this speaker because these are the topics that are important to me, and just because you don't always get the opportunity to see everyone.
Mhm.
There's overlapping meetings, overlapping time, and you again want to leave time for networking. So how did you prioritize from that front?
The first one I attended was he's an artist that talking AI. And
Mhm.
so, although I'm not an artist, the fact that he was transitioning, that was my connection. Oh, he transitioned. He's in the music industry and he's talking tech. Like, I just want to hear like what did he do? Like, what was his journey like? Just hearing anybody that's transitioning, going from one extreme to another. I just want to know like how did you pivot? What did you do? What helped? What didn't work? So I think it was Jadina. Like it was great just hearing, what I guess inspired him. There we
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
And then once I understood what inspired him, that to me just kind of changed my trajectory on like how I was looking at things.
Mhm.
Because although I am known for being the positive person on LinkedIn and um when it's going for so long, it has no business but to like take a toll on you, no
Sure.
matter what. So his speech was very much uplifting.
Mhm.
And it just gave me more fuel to keep
Okay.
going, right?
Yeah.
And then the next person, yes, was Stacey Abrams. She's like in politics,
Yeah.
in Atlanta, and she was talking tech. So I think, and the other guy, he was amazing. I loved his speech, but um, just being able to relate to people that's in something totally different
Yeah.
and taking that leap of faith to go into tech. I mean, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that. I mean, just because I'm a teacher doesn't mean that I'm not qualified. Just hearing their speech and getting inspiration from how they made that pivot and transition was exactly what I needed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I want to say Stacey Abrams. I read a novel that she wrote too. So she like really does everything, like tech, politics, public
Yes.
author. Like she's quite an impressive person. So yeah, definitely. So we're going to talk about how you prioritize, who you want to meet in terms of visiting booths, visiting tables, talking to recruiters and hiring managers. But I think one of the things that people don't really think to prepare for is just networking with other job seekers too, right? You and I have talked about, building that network. The it takes a village type of thing applies not just to raising a child, but to finding a job at this point too. And you finding support from other people that are in a similar space as you is certainly one of the best ways to kind of find encouragement. You bounce ideas off of each other, find, this worked for me, this didn't work for me, things like that. So what went through your mind in terms of that type of networking? Because that's probably not at the forefront of everyone's mind, right? You're there to attend the conferences, see the guest speakers, visit the tables, but you do have some time to mingle. There's sometimes like social hours. If you're just sitting and eating, there's that opportunity to introduce yourself. Did you prepare for that? And how successful were you with networking with other job seekers?
That's funny that you asked me that. So I didn't really, I guess, prepare in a sense of preparing for that, but because I don't mind talking, um, and to a certain extent, I have my moments where I'm very outgoing, so I was ready for that, and it happened. If you're familiar with the Houston Convention Center, there's levels, and I had just left. I want to say Stacey Abrams. Her speech, her talk.
Okay.
And I said I didn't go to the floor yet where everyone was, and I was a little nervous. I'm gonna be honest, because I was by myself. A lot of people I noticed walking around was with other people, but
Mhm.
I was all alone by myself. So I was on third floor in how they have the convention center, they have these big holes, well, round, I guess not mirrors, just like looking, peering over
Okay.
into the main floor. There we go. And so I just stood there and I was looking down and I felt myself getting worked up, like, oh my gosh, like anxiety.
Mhm.
And it was a lady adjacent to me. And she was looking too. And so I don't know what in me, I just started talking to her. I was like, oh. what are you here for? And she told me what she was here for. She's from Denver, Colorado. She was there to support her spouse. And we just talked. We even walked down to the first floor. She walked into the floor with me. I gave her some suggestions on where to eat. And we ended up following each other on Instagram. So that's how great that moment went. Um, I want to say before LinkedIn, and when I was much younger, I maybe was a little bit introverted, but as I'm getting older, like I'm okay with starting conversations and sparking them and
Yeah.
talking and so that went well. Maybe a long time ago, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But it went great. Like I have a new Instagram friend at the end of the day.
There you go. There you go.
And I was able to help them out on some they went and tried some restaurants and stuff because they was there the
Okay.
whole week. It was a week-long conference.
Gotcha.
So I think just going in there refreshed and just I would say just being open-minded. I mean,
Mhm.
what could go wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, on the other side of that, that there is the opportunity to meet with recruiters, hiring managers, or even, a lot of times, and we try to do this when we go to career fairs and things like that, is to bring someone who's actually doing the job that some people may want to do. Someone from tech, from engineering, from sales, something like that. So certainly is an opportunity.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of opportunities there, right? There's probably hundreds, if not more, tables of employers that you kind of have to prioritize. I know you mentioned it was a week-long event. Sometimes these things are only a handful of hours, and so
Oh.
you certainly have to plan in that fold too. So, how did you kind of strategize in that front? Did you go in looking to meet with a variety, or was there just a specific job function or industry that you're like, I want to meet with hiring managers, leaders from this space specifically, and then from there just kind of branched out?
No, so I went into this transition and journey saying I did not want to limit myself.
Okay.
So I definitely didn't look at the map and say, oh, I just want to go to the LinkedIn. Oh, I just want to go to um what was some it was so many great like Google, oh, Salesforce. Oh, no. I walked around and I'm going to be honest, some of the lines were outrageous. So when there was a short line and an opportunity, I would just walk up and not necessarily go in and be like, "Oh, what are you guys hiring for?" Like, no, I didn't do that. I just went to spark conversation. I even stopped at McDonald's.
Okay.
And I started talking to the lady.
Yeah.
Um, so it I don't think I went in with specifics, if that can be it. I think I just really went in to build up my connections and make genuine connections.
Mhm.
And it was great because I actually there's a lady from Salesforce and it went great because she was a teacher and she transitioned into Salesforce, like which is one of the biggest companies.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
this that conference was amazing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to that in a minute here because I want to talk about, how you choose conferences and everything. But just, I want to say your approach to this is one that I wish a lot more people had. When I go to career fairs, the organization that I work for, you wouldn't know what we do just based on the company name. And, we are a big company, but our logo and brand is not plastered everywhere. It's on the
Mhm.
bottom of the stuff that we're manufacturing. So people don't really know who we are, and that's totally fine. When students or prospective candidates come up and say, I'm not too familiar with what you guys do, can you tell me a little bit about it? Always happy to have those conversations. But I think to go in without, like, I'm going to meet with these four brand name huge companies that everyone knows, you might be limiting yourself with some opportunities to learn about some potential roles that you might be interested in, things that you may not have heard of, opportunities that might be a little bit closer to home, or offer full-time remote opportunities for you too. So I think your approach, just kind of going in and seeing where the movement takes you, is probably the best way to plan for that. And I hope more people kind of adopt that mindset moving forward here. But last question for our debut episode here, as we talk about these networking events, is just, a lot of people don't really know about them, right? I mean, if you're active on LinkedIn, or if you're heavy in your job search, things will probably get emailed to you. You'll see advertisements, things come across your LinkedIn feed. Obviously, you're very active, and so that's probably a way that you learn about some of these. But for people that aren't as active, or have that unknown, what would you suggest they do to find out what local networking events, or even if there's things like the person you met that was from Denver that wanted to go to Houston, how can they seek these opportunities, these networking events to attend? What has worked for you when it came to finding the right ones to go to?
I'm gonna be honest. A connection told me about this
Okay.
conference. And when she told me about the conference, I looked into it. And then when I looked into it, I was like, oh, because it's been hosted here, I want to say the past 2 or 3 years.
Mm,
I'm like, oh, it's all over the news. So I've heard about it, but I don't really know about it because I
yeah.
was in the classroom. I didn't have no interest of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Um, so when she told me about it, I looked it up, and when you look it up and you see their speakers and all that good stuff, you get excited. So it makes you want to know more, right?
Right.
So then I'll be honest, I'll go on like social medias and I'll put the name of the conference, I'll put the hashtag in. And
Mm,
when you do that, you get to see all the great things. Well, how I was able to find out about the other conferences, I guess you would say, in this same realm, they would, I guess, tag
okay.
other conferences, or and so you was able to see it. So it's not just this one. They have it's like one every month.
Okay.
And they
Awesome.
do meetups in different cities, and I think that's where you can probably get the bulk of it. Like if you just go to
Mhm.
those meetups, because at the meetups you have no choice but to have connection
Yeah.
and networking and talking. And I think once you keep talking to people, you learn more information. And that's how you find out about these other ones, because
Yeah.
I just thought it was this one. And then I was like, oh no, it's this one in November, this one in January. And I'm like, what? And they're like,
Right.
yeah. And I'm like, oh, it sounds amazing. So I think when it comes to that, I think it's
Mhm.
research based.
Yeah.
That's just the answer to that question. Just doing proper research. They are out there. I think if you're just put in, like if you was just to probably search tech conferences, I'm sure that one's going to pop up.
Yeah.
Um, and then before we go, because I know you said it's the last question, it can be expensive, but don't let that ruin your opportunity. And when I say your opportunity, that was almost about to ruin mine, because the ticket was 600 and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, I commented on somebody's post, and this guy, so nice, he was like, I'll love to sponsor your ticket.
Awesome.
So yes, I believe in uh engaging on people posts.
Yeah. Definitely.
So don't let that discourage you. Also while I was there, I spoke to other ladies and I was like, did y'all really like pay $600 to be here? And she was like, nope, I got sponsored. A
Okay.
company sponsored me, not her company. Because I said, your
Yeah.
company? And they was like, no. She did like not a scholarship, but she did have to fill something out and
Okay.
they sponsored her. So if you want to go to that conference, just make that your goal and you'll go.
Nice.
There's a way, I promise. I learned that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why we talked about this whole episode was just how to best prepare. If you are investing that money for the ticket, you want to make sure that you're getting the most value for your expenses too. So um, great first episode here, Ashley. This is first of many. So everyone who watched, listened, thank you so much. We will see you probably in a couple weeks. It's the holidays. We'll be more routine in the new year for sure. We'll see if we can maybe get one more in before the end of the year here. But thank you everyone for watching, for listening. We'll see you soon.
Bye.